Hey, welcome back, everyone. Today, I'm going to go ahead and give an early impressions on Fairy Tail 2. I'm doing this before I finish my full review because the game has only been out a few days, and I wanted to get this out there so someone has something to watch or look at in case they can't make up their mind if they want to buy the game or not. And keep in mind, this is coming from someone who is a huge Fairy Tail fan. So I'm going to just give some early impressions, and then later on, once I complete the game, I will put out a full in-depth review of this game. Now, keep in mind what I'm going to talk about and what I'm going to show is still pretty early on in the game. About Chapter 4 is about as far as I've made it so far. I will say, though, so far I'm having a good time with this game, so I'm going to go ahead and get into a couple of things about the game that I'm really liking so far. Now, the story takes place during the Alvarez Empire arc. For those who are already familiar with Fairy Tail, you'll know what that means, so there's not going to be too many surprises regarding the main story here. However, there are a few extra elements kind of added on top of that story, a few little side things that you can do and you experience, so it does add a little bit of extra story that maybe we haven't seen yet. The developers even came out and said they wanted to add some extra story that hasn't been told yet. That being said, I will go into more in depth on the story during my full review because I want to experience the whole story and all the side content before I get too much into that. The thing I really want to talk about is the combat. You'll definitely notice there's a huge change this time around from the standard turn-based style from the first game. This battle system is very much like the Altia Rises series. If you've played those games, you'll be right at home here with this battle system. It's almost one for one with just a few key changes. You'll have everyone attacking at the same time, and then whoever you have picked in the battle, you'll be hitting the character with melee combat, and then it will build up some points so you can do your actual magic attacks. This whole battle system really fits Fairy Tail a lot better than just the standard turn-based. I still love the first game and I still love the turn-based combat. However, one thing I found in the first game was I used the standard attack very little, and I just used all the magic attacks all the time because I always had plenty of magic, MP to do those attacks all the time. This one's much more active and you're much more engaged in the combat. The other nice thing about it is they did kind of either shorten or kind of speed up some of the animations. So unlike the first game, you'll do a magic attack and it takes like 2 minutes to pull off this flashy move. They shortened them quite a bit in this game to really keep the combat going. And I don't feel like it takes away from that flashiness that Fairy Tail is known for. So it's a perfect mix. They also included the Unison raids. They also included the extreme magic. All of that stuff from the first game is still there. I will note that now they're a lot easier to pull off and you'll get to see them more often. And even the link attacks are still there depending on the circumstances of what's going on during the battle. They have also included now certain characters are support characters, so you don't actually use them in combat per se, but if certain conditions are met, they'll come in and they'll do something like either heal you or buff you or maybe even do an attack, things of that nature. As far as navigating around the world, it's a whole lot different this time around. It's more of an open world map, and when I say open world map, I'm kind of using that term a little loosely because it's still kind of your standard anime game where there's a lot of just corridors put together. That's the best way I can describe a lot of the anime RPGs I play. It's just a bunch of corridors. However, it's a lot more open and you can just go wherever you want. You don't have to just open up your map and fast travel to an area and then you're going through a bunch of corridors. It's all just linked together. And yes, at some point later on, you can start fast traveling when you find campfires, or if you find landmarks and things like that, you can fast travel back to those areas. One nice thing too about navigating is if you are already a lot more powerful than a group of enemies, you don't actually have to go into combat with them now if you don't want. You could just do your standard attack out on the field and you'll just defeat them automatically, and then that saves you a lot of time. If you still want to go into the combat mode and beat them, you could just walk up to them and touch them. But yeah, now they've added it to where you could just attack them, one-shot them, and continue to move on. But that is only if you're more powerful than that group of enemies. They also give you more movement options, like now you can dash around, which you could in the first game, but now you can unlock an even faster faster dash if you hold like your right trigger, and you'll dash even faster, but it does have a meter, and that will help you get around a little bit faster too. To be honest with you, I'm not really sure why it's necessarily needed yet, but considering when you can fast travel when you find different locations on the map. But maybe it will come into play later on in the game. That much I don't know yet. The only real disappointment I'm running into so far with this game is I feel like there's a lack of side quest. Sure, you'll run into an NPC and they'll give you the standard fetch quest where you have to go find an item and give it to them, much like a lot of some of the quests you'll find in the first game. The only difference is in the first game, you can go to the quest board, take up a quest, and go actually beat like a monster or a boss or something like that. So far, I have not run into that into this game at all. Now, to be fair, during this particular story arc, it does make sense in a way because they're in the middle of being invaded by another country. So I would understand why they're not taking time to take quest on a board, because, you know, that's typically what the mage guilds in this particular anime do. Every guild goes out and does a quest because people will post on their board for them to go do it and make money doing so. Now, that last expert was a little bit more for the people who don't know what the whole world entails of Fairy Tail, so I just wanted to throw that in there. The other thing I want to note real quick is the leveling system is very different now. In the first game, you would level up and it would just automatically increase your stats and things like that. In this game, you have what's called your magic origin, and you can actually go in and put points into a tree, and that will either upgrade your attack or your defense or your health, and depending on which tree you're using, you might unlock skills for that particular character. Now, if you want, you can select any number of characters you want to have auto evolve on, which basically means it will just automatically do it for you if you don't want to go through every single character you have, because there are quite a bit of characters in this game to choose from. And then you can always keep your favorite characters as on manual, like I do. I just have a select few number of characters I keep on manual, so I can go in and level them up the way I want, and everyone else, they can just level up however the game decides they need to be leveled up. All right, I am going to go ahead and end it there because this is just my early impressions of the game. I will definitely still be doing an in-depth review of the game that will be a lot longer here later on. I just wanted to put this out there for people who at least want some sort of reference if they're trying to decide if they want to buy this game or not. If you are a Fairy Tail fan, I highly recommend this game. If you are not familiar with Fairy Tail and this looks interesting to you, I still highly recommend it, especially if you like RPGs or if you've played the Altair Rises series or any of those games for that matter. It's made by Gust. They're the same ones that make those series, and I think you'll have a good time with this game. Anyway, that's going to do it for this video. If you have any questions about the game that maybe I didn't answer here yet, I will be happy to address those in the comments. And if you're liking my content so far, go ahead and feel free to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.